Hello and welcome back. I'm going to give you 5, well, I'm calling them hidden details, but they're not really that hidden, but I guess if you're not from around here, you wouldn't really know about these, or you wouldn't know the history behind them. So these are 5 hidden details of Utrecht. Stuff that makes Utrecht just a little bit more unique. So let's get started. For our first secret detail, we don't actually have to move anywhere. We just have to look at this building right here. This is the head offices of ProRail. And you can't quite see it in this video, but if I show you a close-up, there's a UFO on top of it. So how did this UFO actually get there? Was it an alien invasion? Well, no, we put it there. You see, in 1999, there was going to be a celebration for the new millennium called Panorama 2000. And the idea was that you'd be able to go to the top of the Dom Tower, which is behind these trees, and you'd be able to go to the very, very top, and you'd be able to look out and see all of these like art exhibits that are all around the place. And this building was chosen as one of the locations for one of those because it was the head office of Nederlandse Spoorwegen. Now the event lasted for about 4 months, and at the end they just got rid of all the other ones, but this one was bought by ProRail, who owned the building, and they've just kept it there ever since. So if you want to come visit it, you come here to Morelsebrug, or you can take a walk along the Oudegracht Canal to Hamburgersbrug and then look down Havenstraat, and that's also a really great view in my opinion. Or you can just go up to the building in person and see it in Morelse Park. So our first detail was on one side of the tracks, and this one is actually on the other side of the tracks. If you come here in between Utrecht Centraal and the Beatrix Theatre, you can come and see this little light show. But what is there to actually say about it? Well, first of all, it's not just a light show, it's actually a puzzle, and it also predates the UFO and the ink pot by about 8 years. This one was built in 1991. But what for? Well, actually, we have a lot of these citywide art exhibits, and in 1991 we were having one that was based upon like light shows, and this was built for it, but it didn't used to be here. It used to be on Lange Nieuwstraat, which is more into the centre, and it was so beloved that when it came for the building that it was on to be knocked down, they were originally going to knock this down with it, but the locals actually got it preserved, and since autumn it's found a new home right here. Its official name is REBUS, and it's made by a local artist called Corrie Bessems. And like I said, it's a puzzle, and what's that? You want to know what the answer is? Well, I'm not going to just tell you, but here's a little clue for you. Maybe you can work it out, or just Google it. And don't for a moment think all the interesting stuff is only in the city centre. If you come out to the Utrecht Science Park, you can live out your very own Mario Kart dreams by visiting our very own Rainbow Road. As this is the home of many students, it won't surprise you that this was the initiative of one such student, Elias van Morik. Van Morik petitioned the university directly in order to get this done in time for International Pride Day last year in 2021. And at a length of 570 metres, this makes it the longest rainbow cycle path in the world, beating out, I think, one that's also in a university in New Zealand. While this did draw some criticism as a superficial show of respect, the university has outlined other ways in which it intends to help LGBT+ groups that aren't just making a cycle path. Eagle-eyed viewers might recognise this from my video on Utrecht 900, where I told you the story of how Utrecht gained city rights. This is the Domplein, right in the centre of Utrecht, home to the famous Dom Tower and currently countless amounts of scaffolding. But as well as being the cultural foundation of the city, it also holds the historical foundations. When we gained city rights in 1122, they obviously didn't just give it to a field, and Utrecht can trace itself back to antiquity, where, right on this spot, stood a Roman fort. The walls of this fort would have been home to around about 500 soldiers as part of the limes or border area. While people obviously stuck around after the Romans left, knowledge of the exact location and layout of the fort and the size of the Roman presence gradually disappeared until 1927, when archaeologists were searching for the remains of an old church and they found the castellum instead. Today, you can actually go underground and visit the stonework and learn all about Roman Utrecht in the aptly named Dom Under. Now, the real detail is that the name of Utrecht is borrowed from the name of the fort Castellum Trajectum. Trajectum is a river or a ford, which in this case refers to the Rhine, and so you can see how the word was combined with the Old Dutch for over or ut to become Utrecht. For anyone out there who's interested, I moved to Utrecht in 2018 and I felt so welcome that I made a whole YouTube channel about the place. But it's not just humans that the gemeente is trying to welcome. Now, as I'm stood here by this bus stop, you're probably thinking, well, yeah, Ramona, we have bus stops in my city as well. Why are you showing this off? Well, it's not actually the bus stop I want to show off, it's what's on top of it. You see, in Utrecht, we are trying to encourage bee diversity and help bees to survive in what is very much an urban environment. I'm by quite a busy road right now. And so on top of all these bus stops, they have planted tiny little plants in order to hopefully encourage the bees to come. And that's not all they're trying to do. Right behind me, right there in this urban farm, just beyond those gates, there are currently 10 to 100,000 what are most likely very busy bees, making about 130 kilos of honey. Oh, I can almost smell it. If you're worried that these bees are outcompeting wild bees, well, apparently there really is no competition. They mainly feed off blossoms, which are in such abundant supply that competition really isn't necessary. So, I don't know, that seems like a real big win to me. That was a non-exhaustive list of details in Utrecht that make the city a little bit more unique. Obviously, make sure to throw your own suggestions in the comments and I'll be sure to include them in a future video. If you don't have any suggestions, then I'll forgive you if you promise to like and subscribe. So, until the next one, bye!